Welcome back to the Proper Property Podcast with me, Johnny. And today I've got on an absolute legend, Tom Sumner. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
So I'm going to talk about today 10 years as a paratrooper, serving on multiple operations, 6 years as a bodyguard for a multi-billion-pound enterprise, operating at the highest level under serious pressure. So today's episode is going to be absolutely epic. And Tom is now, or has been for a while, a property entrepreneur, a multiple business owner, and an investor. So we're going to talk about how Tom spent 10 years in the parachute regiment and how he's been in property since 2007. So I first saw Tom at the Frontline Property Conference in Leeds, which was absolutely epic. And as soon as I saw him on the stage telling his story, I knew that we'd got to get him on here. So reached out and you happily said you'd come on, which is epic. I absolutely appreciate it. So today we're going to get into mental health in construction, high pressure environments, the truth about deals, how deals should be structured, and the misinformation as well that's being sold to a lot of people out there doing these courses and things like that. And the main aim of what we do on the Proper Property Podcast is calling people out on the bullshit. And you do that. So such a pleasure to have you here, Tom. Do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself, a little bit of background?
Yeah, obviously from Blackpool, Northwest. Obviously born there. I left sort of the school in 1999 and then sort of didn't know what to do in a way. I knew I wanted to join the army when I was just leaving. I absolutely despised school. Didn't like sort of conforming and everything else, but then joined the army. So it's I think it was more like the routine and wanted to keep sort of busy and everything else as well. But I sort of needed somewhere to be because I was massively into sport, a lot of rugby, boxing and everything else. So I thought, well, I'll have a go at the army because I didn't really know what to do. I didn't want to go to college, didn't want to go to uni or anything like that. So I thought, right, I'll give it a go in the forces. And ended up doing 10 years. So it was a bit of a lifestyle change, but I needed it.
Yeah.
I needed that routine, and I needed to sort of find my sort of place in what I wanted to do. So I think the army was a really, really good environment for me. And again, I'll touch on how important the environment is to succeed and everything else. But for me, it was a massive thing, and I've used everything I've done in the military over into sort of business and property as well. So yeah, but that's a little bit of a short story.
Yeah, no, and honestly, like I say, when I saw you and your story really did inspire me, and that's why we wanted you here. So first question then, I know you've said that you needed that structure, but why the paras? Why the parachute regiment?
I think when I was wanting to do something, so obviously when I joined, you do your phase one. I did a year's phase one at Harrogate, and then I was toying between commando or paras. So it was sort of didn't really know where to go with it. So it was like a choice between doing P Company or doing the commando course. So obviously, with the parachute regiment, they're purely infantry. So I wanted to sort of go, well, do I want to do something a bit different? So again, it was toying between the commando course and the paras. So for me, because I played a lot of rugby, the regiment I went into was the best rugby regiment. So I was pushed.
You followed the rugby.
I was pushed that way because some of the instructors, actually one para was the instructor there. He played a lot of rugby league.
Right.
So I played a lot of rugby league and rugby union. So it was sort of pushing me towards that certain regiment. But I wanted to do something which is hard because I was always very, very fit and pretty determined in everything, and I did. So I thought, well, I'll go down doing P Company. I actually went back to Harrogate as a PTI, physical training instructor, so teaching recruits. So it was like a full circle, went full circle with being there as a recruit and then being an instructor there. So it's quite unique because it changed a lot anyway because they were demolishing the place, and my intake was like one of the first intakes there in 1999. So it was like trial and error. So like the instructors got away with absolutely thrashing us. And now obviously the army's changed quite a bit. But yeah, that was my sort of sort of journey. I wanted to do something which was hard, and that's why I went down doing the being a paratrooper, the P company side.
Yeah, I bet that was such a good feeling, going back the full circle, going back to where it kind of all began, and seeing all those people. Were that kind of a turning point in your life as well, to say, like, look how far I've come, look what I've achieved? And
yeah. Obviously, I've got a lot of experience when I went into the regiment and did my op tours. Obviously, Afghan and Iraq, doing the actual war fighting stuff. And then going back there as an instructor with that experience as well is good at that time. But no, it was good. It was good to go back there as an instructor.
Yeah, can you imagine? So you talk a lot about mindset and the mental health in construction and things like that. Do you want to touch on that?
Yeah, I think obviously with my background, obviously I've been through a lot of sort of high stress, super high stress environments, being on ops, being operations, and sort of I bring that mindset into the construction side as well. That's why I sort of because people do ask, how the hell are you doing all the stuff you're doing? Because it's absolutely, with what I've got on just now, is bonkers. But I've sort of trained myself to sort of do multiple things at the same time. And a lot of it's leadership as well. So basically understanding, moving the chess pieces around, because you can't do everything.
Yeah.
But like I say, there's mental health in the construction industry is as serious, and I don't really see anybody talking about it properly. It's serious. And like, I'll just give you a little figure here. So 636 people have been killed in Afghan and Iraq since it started 24 years. Every single year, over 700 people commit suicide in the construction industry. Every single year. That is a crazy amount of figures between someone who's actively on operations and putting their self, and bearing in mind I've done that, putting their self in the firing line, so to speak, in that job they're doing. But yeah, that's over a 20-odd year period, but every single year. So even in 10 years of stats, in 10 years, over 7,000 people, it worked out, have committed suicide just in the construction industry. So there is a bit of a pandemic there, and making people aware of how you need to do things mentally. And again, I'm teaching a lot of this stuff, and I'm actually as you know, I'm talking about it, the mental health side of it, how important it is as an entrepreneur to do things. And I mean, I had a conversation last year which really hit home with myself, and I've spoken about it with a few people. I had a phone call off someone who used to do work for me, and it was just random text message saying, "Is there any chance of having a chat?" And I thought, well, I'm mega busy, but yeah, I thought I'll go and have a chat and see if obviously everything's all right. So I'm obviously talking to him. He's got no mental health issues at all, but he's had a few problems. So I was chatting to him about, look, this is what I think you should do. This is how you get out of this. So this is a solution to doing the X, Y, and Z. He had a few things at home and everything else. And then I had a message off him on the evening basically saying, if I wouldn't have spoke to you, I'd have killed myself tonight. And for me, to actually see someone text that to you when they've got all these issues, like I say, there is all these pressures, and it doesn't necessarily have to be one big thing. It can be a multitude of small things which tip people over the edge, whether it be financial pressure or sort of time restrictions on getting a project done, or you just don't know what goes on behind the scenes. But there is a pandemic in the industry, and I say, if you can talk about it, and bearing in mind predominantly most of it is men who commit suicide. Yeah. In the industry, so it's again, there is a I say it's a permanent sort of solution, but with a sort of that problem, it can be fixed if you talk. And I think that's where me having CBT, I had CBT for over a year, cognitive behavioural therapy, from obviously what I've been through, and it's sort of, a lot of that is based off talking about what you've done and talking about the incident and talking about the solution to everything. And I think because men do bottle things up massively, but I think it's a subject which certainly I'm going to be talking more and more about, and definitely be talking about in my networking business centre, There's going to be a lot. I'm going to be doing seminars there as well on sort of I'll say mental health, but stuff for entrepreneurs and people in property and the construction industry, trades and everything, and actually talking about different things. And actually, there is a solution to certain things. And where you feel you're trapped, there is always a solution to something. So it's important. I think the biggest thing is talking.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, they do get caught up in their own head, and the problem seems a million times worse in your head.
Yeah.
When you're going over it constantly. And I mean, I've been in that dark hole. I know exactly what it's like. It just feels like the worst thing in the world. But then as soon as you do speak it out, there is that relief. And just saying it even to one person, and like I said, the strength that it probably took that friend of yours to reach out and send that text message is immense.
Yeah.
And you can't even imagine what we're going through his mind at that time to say, I need to reach out. That probably was his last effort at survival, really, to message you and see. I mean, we don't want to say like what would have happened if you hadn't.
But this is the thing: if I wouldn't have answered the phone, I wouldn't have gone and met him.
Yeah,
because obviously everybody knows how busy I am with work side. But if I didn't speak to him, that's that guilt. Then think, Jesus Christ, that's it was my fault. But it wasn't. There was obviously a lot of things going on behind the scenes with work, pressure, home life, and everything else. It's just, as I say, it doesn't need to be one huge thing. It can just be a multitude of 10 different small things which then build up.
Yeah.
Where you think you've not got a way out, but you actually have, because there is a solution to everything.
Do you think that it's because the construction industry is such a male-dominated industry that the stigma still lies in that industry? Because I feel like over the last 5 years, we have kind of grown to, there are a lot more men speaking out, and I see it more. There's groups like Andy's Man Club, and I don't know what, I imagine there's groups in your areas where men can go and they can speak in groups about mental health issues. So I think over the last 5 years in other industries and other parts of life, men have started to speak more than they did 10 years ago. But do you think because the construction industry is such a male-dominated industry that it's very lad, and they feel that they do have to keep it inside?
Well, the thing is, it's the numbers, isn't it? Most, like, predominantly is a male environment in terms of, like, say, the trades, for instance, or they are predominantly male. So, and obviously you've got that bravado thing of not talking. Do you know what I mean?
Like, be a man.
Yeah, like, say, listen, I've fucking done a lot of fucking stupid stuff. I've served in the powers. I've been all over the world, but I still talk about it. I've got nothing to be ashamed of. I've been through CBT. I've been through a lot of other stuff as well through my life. But again, I'm hopefully, like I say, if I can talk about it openly, which you can't get any more open than podcasting on stage and on the internet about these things, hopefully people will start going, do you know what, that has affected me, or that's the exact situation I've been in. If he can get out of it, then there must be a way out of it.
Yeah.
Because the reason people do commit that suicide is because it's not because they're not mentally stable. It's because they feel that they're backed into a corner that much that this is the only route out, and it's never the route out. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Say you're leaving people behind.
The destruction.
Who need you. And this is a conversation I had with him, and say down the line, people do need you. You might have your family or whatever else, so there is always a way out, but you do need to talk about it, because that is the best way to do it.
I couldn't agree more. Right, let's bring it back then. So you started property in 2007. Yeah. You were at the time a bodyguard.
I was in the Paras.
You were still in the Paras then?
Yeah.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
And what, was that just like a little bit of a dabble of a couple of buy-to-lets, or?
No, so my first property was my own home, but it wasn't, I knew it wasn't my forever home. It was sort of, so I got the property, did quite a bit of renovating on there, obviously refinance and stuff like that, which I didn't really know. I knew a tiny bit about it because some of mine sort of friends who were a bit older than me, they were sort of in the property game. Some of them had like 70, 80 properties. So they sort of knew, but because obviously I'm very, very busy being in the forces, I was actually commuting at the time from Harrogate. It was sort of right. Let's get on the profit ladder. Obviously my mortgage, got a loan. I'd saved had my own savings anyway, but then they did like an armed forces loan as well, which helped you towards your deposit. So I got that as well. Borrowed a little bit of money as well just to get everything up and going, and then started buying buy to let. So I was doing stuff while I was in, so I knew I could make money from it. And then I think the penny really dropped when I started getting 2 or 3. Then it was like, Jesus, I was doing my bodyguarding, so I was earning good money anyway, and I was doing it through that process when I was out there. But it was difficult, and I thought, well, imagine doing this full time, like fully engrossed in it. But obviously, when you're earning money and you need to subsidise your wages, for instance, on a normal sort of 9 to 5 job or whatever, you need to slowly do it. But I think the penny dropped once I started getting a few more. But yeah, my journey started 2007, so I've learned a hell of a lot on that journey. Loads of ups and downs. 2007, 2008 was the recession. So obviously, but then I've sort of picked the right properties when I was buying. So a lot of my stuff I own doesn't owe me anything. They're all sort of infinitive ROI. A lot of my stuff's unencumbered as well. So I've sort of learned on my journey sort of hard ways of leaving money in deals and stuff like that, especially through COVID. Got caught out a little bit on a big commercial conversion. Had to leave the money in. Surveyors turning around and saying, it's worth that, but we can only give you that. It's like, well, why say it's worth that then? But there are little things like that, leaving money in on certain deals where, at the end of the day, you can't anticipate what went on with the COVID thing. But like I say, these are big learning curves. But everything is, like I say, every day is a school day, isn't it? So it's
Speaking of every day school, so have you done any education, or did you kind of just learn as you went along? Or
I've 99% of the stuff I've done is learning and doing. That's where I've done a couple of bits with a couple of places, but it was more for the network because I've never been around anybody else doing it.
I think have you done Rachel Knight's?
Yes, I've done. Yeah, I did. That was only a couple of years ago though. Or last year, was it start of last year? But I was title splitting before that. But like I say, with anything, again, I was on stage with Rachel last month. It's refinement. Is this something? Because I was title splitting before and made good money from it. But with thinking, is this something else? You only need it with property. You only need a tiny little nugget somewhere, or a tiny little change, which can be a huge change. So that's why I went straight and did the mastermind with Rachel. But again, I've just done another title split deal, and that was, I think, with just under 275 grand on that one.
Nice.
With minimal work. So if these strategies do work, and this is why I see about being an entrepreneur, property entrepreneur is a big difference between a developer and an entrepreneur. And I, like I say, get engrossed in everything. So I can sort of look at something and go, hold on a second, because that wasn't even in the right place. Most of the best deals I've done have been from Rightmove. So when people turn around and say, "Oh, don't be like everyone else," well, no. The stuff I've got, which has been brilliant, has been on Rightmove. But one, it was in the wrong place, and two, I created the deal because the deal wasn't there, didn't exist. But when I changed a few things on there, it did work. So they went through quite quickly, and like I say, you can make really, really good money, chunks of money, to set yourself up onto something else as well. But again, we'll touch on the sort of stuff I'm doing at the moment.
Yeah. I know that strategies are what make you different and make you a property entrepreneur.
Yeah.
It is knowing the strategies.
Yeah.
And like you say, those one little nuggets, they can make such a massive difference.
Yeah.
And I say this all the time. I say it to Yasmin and Luke. You don't know until you know.
Yeah.
And then once you know, world's your oyster.
Yeah, you've just got to do it though, haven't you? This is the thing, you can learn anything on a piece of paper.
100%. I mean, we've majority of what we've done has been learning as we've gone along, learned from his mistakes as well. That's been one of the biggest things.
Yeah,
learning from the mistakes. So we'll go on to new build estates and luxury developments that you've got. So what sort of projects are you working on at the minute?
I've just finished the third hotel that's now finally operating.
Nice.
Obviously with that Swish holiday apartments, if you've not seen them, they're unbelievable. I've just bought another 2 large commercials. I've got, I think, 7 properties going through sales at the moment, what I'm selling. Some flips and stuff as well, apartment blocks, shop.
You know you're doing well when you say, I think seven-ish.
Seven, trying to work out. I think 7 going through at the moment. I've just agreed a brilliant deal on another 4,000 square foot property, commercial property. I do a lot of commercial as well. It's not just the resi side. There's a lot of benefits to commercial anyway, like your pensions and everything else. But so I've got another big commercial going through at the moment. If you, again, on Instagram or anything like that, if you follow me on Instagram, you can see everything I do. I don't just talk about stuff, I can actually do it.
Yeah, and that's exactly why we're going to be here.
And so, so that stuff, that's going to be a large showroom. So it's going to be a bathroom showroom, bathrooms, tiles. Obviously, if you've seen the bathrooms and stuff I do, some of them are just insane.
Yeah. So how much did you say you spent on one of the bathrooms in Swish?
I think it was about 70 grand, I think, on one of them.
That's mental.
Yeah, so it's the setup is stunning. It's all like your fancy brands and all your, it's making, there's some of the stuff, go and have a look. It's hard to describe. Me talking about it's hard to describe, but let's just see it. So I found myself doing a lot of, I don't advertise my work, but I do stuff for high net worth individuals who want nice stuff. So I've done 4 bathrooms for a private client. So I do selectively do really nice stuff. But then I thought, well, I've spent hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands over this past couple of years, 3 years on bathrooms. Why don't I just supply myself? So I've went and with being the property side, I've then structured a great deal on this big commercial premises, which they wanted to rent, but I've agreed to buy it. I've pretty much doubled the value straight away with the agreements I put in place. Took it through a permitted development application from B8 to B3, so industrial manufacturing over to storage and distribution like Screwfix. So it's bigger than a Screwfix. So I know my strategy. If I ever wanted to exit, I can go and get Tool Station, Screwfix, or any one of these in there for mega money.
Yeah.
So this is part of my sort of strategy of what I want to be doing.
It's always having an end game.
Yeah. Well, I've got
multiple end games.
Yeah. Well, my end game is sort of when I stop enjoying it, and that's me done. But So we've sort of structured that in a way. But that's going to be a bathroom showroom. It is going to be next level. We've already got a huge client base already. We're not even open, but we're trading like doing unbelievable already.
Yeah. I think how much you said you've done last week?
It was nearly 50k.
That's mental.
Like we're not even open. Literally, not even open. I'm scared of even putting out. I've even said I can't put any ads out or nothing because we're not open. Like in terms of the showroom, and round about 95% of our work is showroom based. So if we've got 15, 16 bathrooms in the first month to do, God knows what we're going to do. So I'm looking at staffing and everything already. So it's going to be crazy because I've got my developer, because I'm a developer anyway. I'm always developing. Then I've got the architects and stuff we know. Then we've got all the advertising to do. Then all the marketing side for like through socials. Then we've got obviously the websites and everything. Then your footfall, then past clients and everything. So it's going to be crazy.
Yeah.
It's going to be absolutely crazy.
Let's go on to your socials. You have done a bit of an upgrade recently.
Yeah.
I've started to notice you a lot more on social media.
Yeah.
You are doing a lot more of media, and you are looking at starting your own media business as well.
Yes,
that right?
Yeah, that's in the process
Yeah.
now. Yeah, so we're doing. So I've sort of. I'm doing less, but doing more. So the quality of the stuff we're doing is very, very high now. So like say the camera equipment and stuff we're getting for, especially for the media company, we're spending tens and tens of thousands on the sort of the cameras and everything else as well for the studios we're building. But yeah, we're sort of my socials, my personal page. I'm getting a lot of traction on that. I'm finding I'm getting some of my social pages are getting I've just shown this morning like 300,000 on some of the videos and stuff with Swish. The Swish is going through the roof as well,
which is understandable.
Yeah, and then obviously my property stuff is it's sort of funneled down because it's good content. There's no real spam or any sort of loads of hooks on there. I just put real content on, and some of my stuff's getting 50, 60,000 views and stuff like that. So it's really taking sort of that snowball effect is starting now. I don't think people say about your algorithm, but I sort of put my socials next to somebody else's, because we get a lot of social sort of media people through the hotels and stuff, and I just put them side by side, and they had something like 200,000 or 300,000 followers, and I had 650 followers on my personal page, and he was like, he couldn't believe how many views I was getting on my pages. But I think it's that sort of, and obviously you'll know a lot as well, but it's sort of them days. I know when you've got hundreds of thousands, it's different, but them days are sort of phasing out. It's all about the content and views opposed to followers. Yeah, so I'm finding I'm getting a lot of traction. So I'm constantly getting messages now, constantly getting likes, comments, and everything else. But we're trying to put out really good content. I think that's the way forward. So higher res content, I know it restricts it online, but we're trying to put better content out there. Yeah. I do need to change a few things, but I've got more and more pages being set up now, obviously for Flow Luxury Bathrooms. That's a new page. Then my Beyond Networking and Business Centre, that'll be a new page. But I've got a lot of support from a big company what's coming in to do all the should I say SEO and all the website stuff, all the paid ads. We're sort of collaborating because they're going to be working close by with me. They're going to be working in there, networking in there as well. So we're sort of working as a bit of a partnership, because I'm sort of bringing in a lot of work for them as well. So it's sort of a funnels in, but it's more direct funneling, because like I say, we've got mortgage companies wanting to sort of be on board with me as well, because I've been using their products, talking about their products, like specialist tax accountants who I use, who have got me. One of them, I think we've got back about just under 3 million in capital allowances. So you know how much I develop. We've managed to get that back through special accountants. So they want me to advertise for them, because end of the day, the proof's in the pudding.
Yeah, and it's
been done.
Yeah,
it's predominantly a lot of property and assets for there. That's how you get your capital allowance through commercial assets. So they're saying, well, if you can advertise that for us, we'll do stuff with you, do this collaboration thing. I'm going to be working with their companies and doing some of the media stuff for them. This is why I'm doing the media company. Then I've got the studio and stuff. They can sort of come in, talk about how they're the solution to somebody's problem.
Yeah.
So it's sort of a really good ecosystem the way I'm doing it.
No, that's brilliant. Honestly, absolutely epic. Right, let's go on to one of the things. I know when I asked you to come on, you said that you wanted to make sure that it's raw and we can talk about absolutely anything. And I think on some other podcasts, you've been known to call a few people out and the bullshit of the actual industry. So do you want to tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, I think the industry, I'll talk about it. The better way of doing it, I think, the more sort of humble way is talking about what I'm doing opposed to what everybody else is not doing.
Yeah.
And I think, because I went on another podcast and was talking about, like I say, the training side of it, and obviously the experts. It's not just the property industry. This is sort of whether they're doing e-commerce and all the rest of it, or marketing. There's so much bullshit out there, because anybody can be anything. But ultimately the onus is on the person buying the products or viewing it. So they need to do their homework a little bit better. But like I say, you've got a lot of, obviously in my industry, the training industry, I've been mentoring for quite a while now. I've been sort of coaching since early 2000s in different sort of sectors. But obviously been mentoring through the property stuff, but I'm actually doing, and everybody can see what I'm doing. And there's people talking about things, but not actually doing.
Yes.
I know there's people in the training space, and it's not just one company. There's multiple companies doing it. They're either having minions go out who have not done anything. I know there's people teaching who've not even got a property, and I know there's people who are teaching and who've got 2 or 3 properties and they've done a property course like 2 years ago. That is going to get someone in a world of shit, like down the line, where if someone's listening to advice of somebody who hasn't done the things they're saying they've done. And this is where I want that change in terms of what I'm doing. I can show people, look, this is how you do it properly, because I've been through recessions. I've done X, Y, and Z. I've done new build developments. I've done commercial property, commercial conversions, hotels, commercial shops, retail shops, industrial manufacturing units, land. So whereas people are getting other people in to teach certain courses, I'm going to be teaching this to a high level. And when you come and maybe do a course with me, you can't just book on it. You get interviewed. So I've interviewed a few people And some of the people, like, I don't need the money. This is the difference. I've made my money from property, and I make my money from property, not from teaching. Whereas other people are making the money from teaching, have never made and never been successful in property. And that's why they've made the money through teaching and hype and upselling and buying the next course, come on this course to do the next course, then the next course, then the next course. And I've even thought about doing absolutely everything for free. Absolutely everything.
Wow.
And teaching everybody everything for free.
Love that.
Because
absolutely love it.
I absolutely love property. I'm absorbed in it. I'm doing it day to day. It's a day-to-day thing for me. I'm actively doing a lot of stuff in property and developing and building. So I actually sat down with some marketing experts and we actually went through the scenario, because obviously we'll talk about the fact I've obviously been mentoring for a while, but I've never wanted to do the actual teaching side of it until I can stand on stage in my own building. When I talk about a building, I mean a big commercial building, which is kitted out better than anybody else's in the country, which it will be. Stand in that building, which I own, which is unencumbered because I bought it outright. That's when I'll start teaching. At the end of the day, I'm stood on stage, not talking about what you can do with this and that. I'm actually actively doing it. And I don't think there's any other trainer in the country, one who does the stuff to the level I do it at, which, go and have a look, I put everything online, to that standard, and is actively, continuously doing property and developments. I don't know anybody who's doing that.
No.
So for me, I say what I do and I do what I say. I don't need to call people out, because at the end of the day, you can come and see what I do. You can happily come to any of my sites and I will literally walk around here and show you what I'm doing and how I'm doing it. And this is where, when I've sat down with these marketing experts, they've said, what about potentially doing this for free? Because the content you have got and the fact you're doing everything, you could have millions upon millions of followers on social media, across social media, without running courses, without doing it. But then I still want to run seminars on mental health and everything else, but showing people, but doing it for free, because I just think there's that much bullshit out there and people are paying tens of thousands for courses. Then if you can offer it for free, I mean, to be honest with you, if I'm doing actual physical courses, I'm actively doing it. I want to show people around what I'm doing. That'll be part of the course, because I'm actively a developer.
Yeah.
And obviously with my businesses as well, they'll have access to other things as well. So it's sort of showing people actually and demonstrating it. This is what you can do if you want to do new builds, because everybody's from different areas of the country, aren't they? So someone in the Lake District will have a different sort of stock compared to someone in central London. But if I can have because I've got the ability to sort of teach all these different areas, it makes it very, very unique. And obviously the environment in which it's going to be, I want you to be a property, when you come out after being with me, is being an entrepreneur, property entrepreneur, not a property developer. Yeah. There's a clear difference. There's a massive difference. And when I talk about being a property developer, I'm talking about your new builds. I know someone who does renovations is still a property developer, but I'm talking about taking it to another level is someone who's doing new build developments or land acquisitions and developing or selling deals on that way. But then obviously being an entrepreneur is looking at all these different scenarios and being able to understand and do them. So I want someone who comes in at day one, and this is why I'm purposely interview people. Like I said, I've interviewed quite a few people. Someone one of them's already got 20 odd properties. And like I say, why not? I've had all these scenarios with them, but they've got to be the right fit for my community, because it's not about numbers and bums on seats for me. It's all about, as you can see, the way I develop. It's all about quality, and I'd sooner have 100 people than 1,000.
Yes.
So it's sort of bringing people at the front end to be an entrepreneur themselves, market themselves, look for investors, but you've got to be marketable. So this is why I've got the media company, the podcasting studio, the facilities, the developments, the supply chain. So when you come into the community, you have literally got specialist accountants at your fingertips who do stuff for me and can show you how to do certain things. Architects, designers, supply chain, all the facility to promote yourself.
A plug and play.
And I don't know anybody else who's doing that. Not because I'm better than anybody else, it's because I'm doing it a systematic approach to everything.
Yeah, and you're doing it for the right reasons.
But with the right values, and that's one of my beliefs. Is like my belief system is values are so important, and I do think making, like, for instance, having a property sort of company and then doing it maybe into like a franchise or doing it and sending people out to do their own thing, you're watering down what you're trying to achieve and what your goal was. I think it's all watered down. You're then passing that on to somebody else who's potentially done your course 2 or 3 years ago. How are they going to stand in front of people and teach people all these different things? I think it's sort of a slippery slope and people will get caught out, but ultimately it's not down to the trainer, it's down to the person wanting to paying to do the training. They need to do their due diligence and everything else and sort of see if they're the right fit. Because a lot of people, I wouldn't be the right fit for a lot of people because I'm very intense and sort of, if you're not going to do it, don't fucking waste my time. It's as simple as that. Literally, I'd sooner not have your fucking money. And like I said, because I make my money from property, don't need your money, but I'd sooner work with somebody who wants to basically take things to another level, take their life to another level, build their wealth through property and business. And they're the type of people I want to be. And that's why I said the numbers are going to be low. But I still will actively, I do want to do a lot of seminars and I could do the talks. I give time up to do the talks and actually talk about being an entrepreneur, being in property, how lonely it is. Because at the end of the day, you're on your path, aren't you? And it can be very lonely at times, trying to get to where you want to be. Because obviously you can have loads of mates, but then they sort of fizzle out because you're in that sort of mindset.
Yeah.
So I sort of took myself away from everything, literally for 6 months to a year, probably longer than that, completely shut myself off because I needed to serve my goals to get to where I needed to be. And that's massively served me well. And I think realistically over the next probably 3 years, I'll probably make more money in this next 3 years than I've probably made in 20 because I've set everything up. I had a 5-year plan and it's all fell in line perfectly.
Brilliant.
So I had that plan to get to where I wanted to be. It's actually gone a bit further than that anyway. So this flow was never on the card. So that's sort of another addition to where I want to be. And that's going to be an incredible business.
But that is one of the things you do have to be willing to pivot. You've got to be willing to pivot. And I think that's what makes you a property entrepreneur. Yeah. It's that willingness to pivot. And I know you talk a lot about environment as well.
Massive.
When you were talking about environment last time, absolutely epic.
Yeah. That's part of my belief. I've built like a sort of belief system over the years of like say, and I think number one, like before anything people talk about discipline, they talk about momentum, they talk about all these different things. The number one thing is belief, self-belief before anything.
Yeah.
That and my second thing is environment. That's that structure. Having an environment will make or break you. So if you're in around the wrong people, you're not going anywhere. You show me you're knocking around with, then you'll see where you're going to go to. And I try and like say we have these talks. My son as well. He's an athlete. He's massively into his rugby, and I said it's all everything is environment based. So if you're in the right environment with the right people, you're going to go somewhere. But the thing is, you choose the environment you're in, nobody else. So it's down to you. But if you follow that systematic, and this is where, again, me teaching my belief system, it sort of makes sense. And when I talk about it, it makes sense to people in the way I've structured it, but it's part of my life in terms of what I've done, and it's structuring it. And then people can actually see it and go, holy shit, if I just change these few things, just like switching off and focusing on the thing. Because at the end of the day, if you've got them goals there, you need to put everything into that. Do you know what I mean? It's all right writing them down, but if you don't take the action, you're not going to do anything. Do you know what I mean? So that's where my environment for my teaching environment, when you sat in that room and we're talking about you've had a small taster when I was on stage in Leeds of what I talk about. It's very intense, but end of the day, when you come out the back end of it, you'll be a different person because the way you think about things is different. But that's sort of a military thing. And when you talk to ex-service guys, they do have that a little bit something different there. It's not you're not born with it, are you? It's sort of built over time. Yeah. And that's why I want to sort of bring that into my training, into what my students are doing, because ultimately their success is my success because the sort of byproduct of what I've done. So for me, it's super important. Whereas I find a lot of these hype men or women online, they're just fucking hype men, upsellers, good at sales. I just find it's bums on seats. And for me, the way I do it is the polar opposite to everybody else how they do it. But I have seriously thought about doing it all for free, even though I shouldn't be.
Yeah.
But I just think there's something there which would be.
Yeah, and so I always think when you do things for free, you get repaid in other ways. It's not always about money. When you get to a level, transactions. It's not always money. It's values and also that accomplishment of, like you said, if you get 30 people underneath you and you've changed 30 people's lives, like, what an accomplishment. And then anything that you need, you've got these 30 people who you've helped.
Yeah.
And it'll come back.
I think the teachings thing, though, when obviously I know the amount of money what can be made from property. So, like, me charging X, Y, and Z to sit with me for a week, I know how much money you can make. Like, but for me, it's not. I'm not geared by that. It's like the first thing I did when we refinanced the first property at Swish, the first thing we did was give a lot of money to a charity, kids charity near me, which we're now ambassador of. That's the first thing we did. So that went to the Boathouse charity in Blackpool, which is a kids charity. And we do, if you look on our social media down backtrack, but we do quite a lot for charity. We just give stuff away to a women's veterans charity. We did another event for a young girl called Ruby. She's very ill. So we did an event for her as well, just to raise awareness.
Fundraising.
Yeah, so we do quite a lot of stuff. So we're going to be we're in the talks with a few different charities as well, doing stuff for all because I lost my cousin at 6-year-old. So that's mega important. The kids' charity stuff is very important to me. So we're sort of give a lot of giving back. So when we finish Flow and that's going, we're going to be doing a lot of charity work as well, and that's sort of part of my process. But like I say, it's just giving back. For me, is mega important.
And I think you can tell a lot about someone when that is in their goals. It is to achieve a level of success where you can give back. And I think that tells a lot about someone, 100%. Brilliant. So we've got on here long-term vision. I know we've already touched on the commercial premises that you're buying and turning into the hub. Do you want to tell us a little bit more about that what's actually going to be in there?
Yeah. So that's part of that. Again, that was part of my plan. And obviously I wanted to buy. I've been around I've been to loads of different events anyway, and I've been talking at loads of different events. I've never found anywhere which is suitable to what you're trying to do. So whether it's a networking event, you can have bloody posts everywhere. You're in a bar, and so I wanted somewhere, and I thought, what I'm teaching, I want somewhere which I own, which is my place. But inside the facility, so it's two large commercials. It's being made into one, with a big mezzanine, viewing gallery. There's going to be a stage in there for talking, loads and loads of room for networking. So you can run small networking events like 50. You could probably have 150 people in there. Then all the seating. You've got classrooms upstairs, which I'll be teaching from. I'll run my group of businesses from up there. But I'll be teaching from there. So I'll have like interactive touch screens on there for mapping to show people about land and how to do acquisitions and whatever else. And I'll be teaching from there. Obviously, we've got the podcasting studio, which is going to be next level. Like, honestly, there's some of the designs I'm coming up with. You've seen this stuff I design, but it's just going to be almost like it's been taken from Mars and put in there, like the outside all geometric and just dead crazy.
Brilliant.
And then obviously the studio inside. But I wanted it to be a bit more multifaceted, so any business can come in there. They can run their own networking events from the whole facility. They can run podcasting from there, so they can come in, do the podcast, or they can record music in there. Then they've got the stage, so you can sort of, if someone was a social media content creator, they can go in there and do a few different environments. We've got the coffee stuff in there, your sofas, and it's sort of a really nice facility. But we're going to be running a radio show from there. I think a couple of times we're going to do stuff from there.
Brilliant.
So there's absolutely tons going on. I'm going to be running my networking events, running stuff for mental health, entrepreneurship, social media stuff. There's loads of different people. There's going to be hundreds of different companies using the facility. Big networking events will be going there. A lot of outside stuff. So, for instance, I'm running my networking event. I'll have mortgage companies there and solicitors and everything else. Loads of advertising screens. It's very been well thought of. The way it's all about marketing, getting the word out there, people using the facility. I'm going to be doing stuff with veterans, with a good mate of mine, Richie Thrower. He does, if you don't follow him, unbelievable stuff. He's just made a film called Crack On, which is it's a short film that's getting pumped everywhere. So that he's just made that. I did a talk there in Hale in the cinema talking about mental health and stuff.
Oh, brilliant.
So there's going to be loads going on there. So we're going to be doing bits of teaching about content creation, because he's a content creator himself. If you go and have a look at the stuff he does, it's amazing. But we're doing everything and anything there. But it's like a hub, a station for people to use.
Sounds epic.
Yeah,
sounds
epic.
Good. So, just last couple of questions. What I wanted to ask: what's been your best deal ever, and what's been your worst deal ever?
I mean, for quick and easy money, best deal. I mean, I've done multi-million-pound deals with the hotels, the housing estates. I'd say the quick, nice, easy thing is like doing that tart split and making over $250,000 in one little thing, or doing a flip, doing that. But the thing is, a lot of these are run simultaneously. So like the flips and stuff, they're all running at the same time. But I'd say the tart split thing was pretty easy. I'd say my worst thing was doing the housing estate, even though it made a lot of money, was doing that because it was boring.
Right.
It was
a time scale.
It was time scale. It was a double-edged sword. It was boring. It was monotonous. Right, you're working to a Gantt chart. This is coming. For me, that I would say that's the worst deal I've done, because one, it took 2.5 years to complete the whole housing estate, but it was boring. But it was a mega learn, because you're literally learning absolutely everything on top of everything what else is going on. So for me, that would probably be a double-edged sword with that one at the end.
Brilliant. Right, well, I think we're going to wrap it up. What we always give to people that have come from out of Yorkshire, if you just look behind your head, there's a bottle of Henderson's Relish. Yeah. So that's for you. So we always gift them to our guests who come from out of Yorkshire. People think it's Worcester sauce, but it's not, 100%.
I'll try it tonight.
Put it on absolutely all. Put it on your pie, gravy, mint. But honestly, absolute pleasure having you on. Thank you so much for coming. And if people want to reach out to you, do you want to just look into that camera and tell people where they can actually follow you?
If you want to reach out, if you go onto Instagram, you'll find me on there, Tom Sumner 01. I think that's my handle on Insta. Swish Holiday Apartments on Instagram. Beyond Property Training on Instagram. Flow Luxury Bathrooms on Instagram. And then it's the same across to Facebook and TikTok.
Brilliant.
You can get me on there. DM me or whatever. I'll respond.
Nice one. It's been an absolute pleasure, mate. Thank you very much. Nice one.
Cheers, appreciate it.
And everybody, like, subscribe, and we'll see you next week.
Perfect.
Thank you.